Hi everyone and welcome back to Getting There, the podcast with me, Brogan Garrett Smith. So today I sit down with none other than the very legendary and iconic Fran Cutler. Fran and I sit down and discuss how to build a brand, what's given her longevity in her career and advice to women in business. It's one not to be missed. See you soon. So, Fran. Thank you for coming here today.
You're welcome.
How are you?
Good, yeah, really good, really excited. This is my actual first podcast ever.
Really? Okay, I'm super honoured.
Yeah, I've never done one before, and people have always asked me to do them, and I've always sort of thought, I don't know if it's me. And then I met you, and you asked me, and it was like an instant thing. Yeah, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. I don't really even listen to podcasts, which is weird, but my daughter listens to lots.
Okay, amazing. So I started going down the rabbit hole that is your life.
Yeah.
And I used to think a few ways I'm going to word, like colourful, interesting. There's there's so many things I want to talk to you today about.
Yeah,
like,
lots.
especially I want to hone in with you and like your career and women in business.
Yeah.
But for those of the people who are listening to this
Yeah.
and they're like, who is Fran Cutler? Like, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Who is Fran Cutler? Because there's many titles that people like to call me. I mean, I suppose Fran Cutler is a sort of person around town, somebody that if you're in the London sort of scene, in nightlife, in fashion, in music, you would have probably heard of her. Fran Cutler's been around quite a long time. She works across the genres of fashion, music, film, art, you name it, I've worked in it.
Because what I found really hard was to actually condense what it is that you do. Like, even when we went for lunch, I was like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's almost like...
You're right.
There almost isn't a title for it, is there?
No, because what happened, I think, I started off managing DJs, which was in the big house scene. And I started off with a DJ called Jeremy Healy, who was really big. And then I went on to have a partnership with a woman called Jenny Rampling, whose husband was Danny Rampling, and that was a really big scene. And from there, I sort of progressed. I met me and Meg Matthews, who was Noel Gallagher's first wife. We met and we started doing parties together.
Just for your own benefit?
No, for other people, and to do with Creation Records, which was a big record label that Oasis was signed to. We started doing that together, and my DJs would play, and the people that were putting on these parties would say, would you want to bring your friends, or do you and Meg want to do this or that? And we thought, we can sort of make a business out of this. And we did. And we did backstage at Nebworth and huge events. She got pregnant, she married Noel, she didn't really want to work anymore, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to work, I've got to have a job. I haven't got a rich rock and roll husband, so I got on with it and did it on my own, and it literally organically progressed into doing a guest list. People would actually call me up and say, we're doing this party at so-and-so, this is the date, do you think you could get some people to come? I'd say, yeah, if it's a great venue, yeah, if it's great DJs, yeah, if it's for a great, great thing, it could be a
charity
launch.
Cause or something, yeah.
Yeah. So
did these people want paying, or they were just coming because they were your friend?
Back in those days, it was nothing to do with payment.
Okay. So
I would get paid to bring people along. They'd give me a token amount. It wasn't loads of money then. But
so all these celebrities were coming just on the back of being your friend?
Yeah, and not necessarily celebrities, because it isn't just about having celebrities at a party. You can't just have celebrities, because it doesn't work like that. You've got to have friends. You've got to have a group of you that all hangs out. And in a group, then you're never going to get a bunch of celebrities. There's going to be friends of friends. And it's a real sort of mix Heinz 57 of people that you get. So I would invite, I suppose, a gang of friends. And then I made a job out of doing a guest list for party.
So I read on the Daily Mail that someone called you the Rottweiler of parties, and that if you deemed people uncool,
they wouldn't get in.
They won't come in.
I think that sort of resorts back to my Around the time of doing guest list, I was also doing doors at clubs. So they call you the door bitch, the door person. And so that was my job also, to make sure that the right people would come in and the wrong people wouldn't come in. But I think as I started doing more guest lists for big events, it was also really important that the right people came in and the wrong people didn't come in. So to keep the party right and to keep the vibe right, there were certain people that I couldn't let in, or people that would try and blag it to come in, and people that just weren't right.
And what would you deem, for example, I'm assuming with no reality, that the kind of route you were going down? Was it like, what is in the Fran Cutler
I think
CV of what it's got to be called to come to a Fran Cutler party?
I think that's just all instinct. I think it's your instinct. If I've lived in London all my life, I've grown up in that London scene, so I knew who was right and who was wrong. In my head, it's still quite a personal thing, isn't it? To know who you want at your party and who you don't want at your party.
Yeah.
It's got to be very inclusive. It's got to be a mixture of people. It's got to be a mixture of ages. It's got to be a mixture of everything. So, I suppose I could have been quite difficult at the door.
But for the right reasons.
For the right reasons, and also as my integrity at stake, and also I'm working for a client.
Yeah.
So if the wrong people came in and started a fight or got drunk or started arguments, that would be down to me because I let them in.
Yeah. So would the brands give you a brief, or they're just like, Fran, just go and run with it?
Some did, some didn't. Brief, I think it's quite hard to give a brief for a party, really.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I think it should be really inclusive.
So it seems like when I'm looking back on your life, there was an element of power that you seem to hold a lot of cards, right?
I think you don't know it at the time, but on reflection, probably, of course.
Yeah.
You could say, yes, you can come in and you can't. But most of the time, the guest list was done before.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
Pre-decided.
It's all pre-decided and you've sent those invites out. So if people are turning up without knowing what party it is or without knowing who the party's for, they're not on the list and they're not right to come in anyway. So I did the door for years and years and years, sometimes with my sister, who I still work really closely with, and with colleagues of mine that was working for me, at the time.
So when I went down the rabbit hole of your life and I looked a little bit online about these parties, right? We, as a member of the public, we can't really see much, but I see some really fucking cool people there. I think we've got like Kate Moss, Sienna Miller, this one, that one.
Oh yeah, it was
they called you the Primrose Hill set.
Yeah, that was a sort of name that they gave a lot of us. I mean, those names are just but a few. I mean, the spectrum is so wide. Oasis, The Prodigy. I've done parties for everyone you can think of and every brand you can think of, and you name it. That person has been
referred to quite hedonistic. Like, what did they look like inside them?
But I think all parties are hedonistic. That's the whole point of a party. When you go to a party, you want to have fun.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go and sit there and all sit down and just like chat. Party is about going, getting drunk, dancing, and have a whale of a time and doing what you want to do. So they were totally hedonistic, and I think that's what a party should be.
Was there obviously quite strict in terms of like these kind of people wanted their privacy as well? So back then there wasn't even probably photo phones.
There wasn't. I mean, my sister used to do a club on a Thursday night called Cabaret, which was absolutely infamous. And in one corner there'd be the Rolling Stones, in another corner there'd be a load of, lords and ladies. In another corner it'd be the Prodigy. It could be Leonardo. It could be Kate and Mick. It would have been like a whole mixture in this tiny little club. And those are the sort of clubs and nights I like, when it's a real mixture of people and you just can't guarantee who's going to come.
No. So it seems like you kind of, on the back of your job, you kind of got thrown in the limelight, but almost in the back seat.
Very organically it happened, very naturally. I was never one to thrust myself in a picture. I mean, obviously it was before social.
Yeah.
So we would never let any press in the parties unless they were allowed. There was only one photographer, which was usually Dave Bennett. Perhaps could be outside if they found out.
Yeah, because I see a lot of pictures of like everyone walking out at like 4 or 5 a.m.
And that was allowed back then, but there wasn't social. And I think if I did a club now, I wouldn't let that happen. I wouldn't let any social. I think there needs to be places like the firehouse. You can't take pictures of people, and I think it really needs to be like that.
Yeah, so people can have their privacy and stuff.
Just because people don't exactly look their best at 2:00 in the morning.
I can vouch for that. But
really not.
So when you start out on this journey and you and Meg sit there and you go, shit, we can make a bit of money this, or this could be something. But I
still think that's organic. I think if you're really contrived and pretentious about stuff, I don't think it really works. I think things really have to happen organically for you. I'd have thousands of different jobs before that. I'd worked in a sandwich shop. I was a makeup artist. I was a model booker. I worked in a shop for years. I worked in Sloane Street. I'd done so many different jobs. And this one just seemed to fit and to fit me. And it just happened really naturally.
And it hasn't got a title, right? This is what I'm saying.
People call me the party guru. Oh, the party planner. Oh, the social butterfly. The Rottweiler of the door. I organise
here,
stuff.
I've got a quote. There is something enormously compelling about Fran Cutler. She's a timeless bundle of energy.
I think that's
enthusiasm.
True. Yeah, 100%. I think that's true. And I think the enthusiasm... Because people actually do say to me, look, you've been doing this for like 25 years. Don't you get bored of doing parties? Well, no, because everything's different. Every single party, it's not as if I'm working at the same venue. Say, for instance, I worked at Stringfellows and I had to do the same party day in, day out, every single night. That would be so dull.
Yeah.
But because I can pick the venue, I can choose who comes, I can pick the music, I can pick the date, I can pick when, most of the time. It's so different every time.
You've got with it.
It's freedom, and also it's just different. And also, as time goes on, different crowd all the time. You know, now it's the kids of my friends that are coming, plus them as well. But I've found what's really good about nowadays is that I can go to parties and my daughter will come with her friends, and it's still like a big mixture. It's what I'm saying about inclusivity with age. It can be 18 to 80.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting and fun.
But like, when you started out and you, like, for example, when you and Meg said there's something here.
Yeah.
Did you find it hard how did you start putting value on your work?
That was very difficult.
And monetising on it. Did you find that a difficult transition?
I think it's always very difficult to monetise yourself when you've got no one to represent you. I'm great at looking after everyone else and saying, well, they deserve that. And remember, this is the days when no one got paid at going to a party. They never got paid to go to a party, which... I'm sort of in two minds about it even now. If I think, should people get paid to go to parties? I'm against it.
Yeah.
I feel you should go somewhere if you like what the party's about, if you've got an affiliation with the designer or the venue or the person that's throwing that party. I think you should go naturally. And listen, I'm guilty of paying people sometimes to go to party, but not a lot. I'm really quite anti it. But... I really do feel you should go somewhere because you want to, and you either want to support that person or you love the music or you want a night out. But getting paid, I think, is a bit naff, if I'm honest.
Well, it's like going back to what you were saying about it being organic. But when you first charged your first client, how did you go about, okay, they're worth this, and then...
I don't really know how that came about. It could have been Meg, it could have been me. But when you say it and they say, okay, you go, oh. Okay, then, yeah, that'd be X amount. And they go, okay, yeah, that's fine, great.
On to the next.
And I still think to this day it's quite hard to sort of describe what I do because some people don't understand that your work for the event is all done before.
Yeah.
Because you're doing the guest list before, you're organising it before, you're calling everyone before. You don't call everyone on the day.
No, of course.
So you're doing all the work before. All the work's been done on the day of the event.
And how do you value a successful event? Is it like who turns up?
There's two ways.
Yeah.
One for the client, if the client is really, really happy and we've got some really great attendees and the people that they wanted, there come. Or if the party isn't for a client, if the party isn't for a client and it's just a fun friend's birthday and everyone's come and it's brilliant,
yeah,
then great. Because I don't always do parties for a client or for a brand. a lot of the time I've done them for friends, for birthdays and for weddings and things like that.
Well, I think there's something really interesting about you, because I think in the world that we live in, where number one, what you were saying about everyone being paid, you can buy anything now, you can buy followers, like there's no authenticity in the event.
And also it's just doesn't feel right. I can go to a party and know that people have been paid to go there. I mean, I can see it on Instagram every day.
Yeah.
What people have been paid to go where. Because I look at these people that have gone and I thought, you don't even know who the designer is. You've probably never even met that designer in your life. I've never even seen you in a piece of that designer clothing.
Yeah.
But you're gone to that party and worn it because you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And I suppose this is all the social.
And the world that we live in, it almost becomes inauthentic.
Which I'm not knocking it, because
No.
everyone's got to earn their money. But what I find quite mad is that these people that are called influencers, why am I being influenced by them? Why would they influence me?
Yeah.
Why would I respect them? I respect people that have got integrity and style and
hard work
and all those sort of ethics, not someone that posts a picture every day of them in a different outfit and they're 18 and they can dance in front of a camera. That would not influence me, and thankfully my daughter who's 22 doesn't influence her either. So
because that was probably a bit of a concern of yours, no?
Well, yeah, I was concerned first of all that she'd like the Kardashians, and she doesn't, thank God, and she's not influenced by them, and she's not influenced by TikTokers or all that Instagram. I mean, I must admit, I'm really, people make their money how they make their money, but I just think influencers is just, it's so.
Well, it's inauthentic, and I think a lot of the conversation we've
had.
How can you
be influenced?
Yeah.
If somebody tells you to buy this and it's, as I said, it's an ad, you got to find these. It's your friends that tell you to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's your family, or you find out organically when you go to Selfridges. You go shopping for yourself and you go around and find stuff. You try it on, you like it. If my friend rang me up and said, "Oh, go and watch the new Netflix doc on Robbie Williams,"
you'd go.
You do it. I don't necessarily listen to someone on Instagram.
No, and do you know what? So I don't like talking badly about anyone. Going back to the Kardashians though, I've never gelled with them. I'm a bit similar to you, Fran. I won't follow anyone on social media unless they're my friend. Like, what am I a bit similar? Like, what am I following you for?
Exactly.
But what really upset me is that these 3, 4, whatever the women are, have an element of power, right? Do you remember when Khloe Kardashian, there was an picture taken of her that was unedited and she went mental and she paid everything and she got it taken down, and she went mental. She's a mum, you don't look like that every single day. You have a duty to these young girls to show them what it is to be real. Like, and part of it, listen, I come on here every other week, I'm looking at myself and I think, I could do with that done. But I will not edit them because I'm someone's mum, right? And I have a duty to be
but
like,
also,
this is what's real to be human.
But it's just you, and also it's just a lot of fakery, and social media has got so much to answer for, and it's really scary. I mean, it's scary for those kids out there, and that's why if I had a nightclub that I did on my own in total control, I would never let people take pictures. I mean, even when I do parties, I mean, my last one was a huge Halloween party and people were doing social. Thankfully, everyone's in costume, so it all looks really, really fun.
Mysterious,
and it was really
anyway.
Fun. And, it was great, and it all worked really well. I just think you just got to be so careful. I find
of what you believe as well, because like people aren't like you and I. Like, if you're a young girl who
has a lot of people that are so influenced by so many things, you read about it all the time, and our duty as adults and as older adults is to try and guide people in the best way. I mean, who am I to say, I love parties. Not everyone is pro that. They're saying, who are you? People come to your parties and get drunk. Yeah, but they're all over 18 or even over 25, a lot of them. And so,
but you're not parties, you're people.
That's
the way I would say.
Exactly. And I want people to come and have a lot of fun, and they really do. That's why I like it very inclusive, and anyone and everyone should be able to come. Obviously, it doesn't.
Well, this kind of leads me to my next question, because in this world we live in where everything's fast paced, you can be the hot ticket at the moment, then you can be gone.
That's for sure.
What's given you your longevity in your career?
I think being very truthful about the people that I'm going to invite and not invite. I've seen people send over guest lists to my office that are just laughable. and they've said, oh, can you work on this event? These are the people that coming, but, you know, can you bring more? I'm like, but you've written like Madonna, and there's some people on this guest list that are dead even. It's like, are you know, who wrote, you've got
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
You know, you've got people in, you've probably got some intern that's written a guest list out for you that doesn't really know anything. So what makes me different is that I curate this list. I know who'd be right for that event, or who's not in town, who doesn't live here, or is not talking to that person, or is just not going out at the moment. I have to know all those things.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. You don't just like go through your database and go, yeah, put that together, right, send that out.
Yeah.
That a lot of people do. So I think when I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yeah, of course.
And I think I've got a very good high success rate. I think that's the way.
I've probably high standards, though.
Yeah, high standards, but I've probably had about 3 shit events in my whole career.
I was going to ask you about that. You must have fucked up a few times.
Yeah, not necessarily fucked up, but people just not turned up. It could be the weather, could be something out of my control, or it could have been people asking me for a very small amount of people to come, and they only wanted me to invite a small amount. And because it's a small amount,
You're reliant on them.
You get a higher fallout rate.
Yes, of course.
So say you invite 5 people and 3 don't come, then you're stuck with 2.
Yeah.
That's why you've always got to over invite. That's another secret. You must always over invite for your event.
And so I wanted to touch on as well the actually I had a really nice quote here from you when I was looking about like how they gave, because you do a lot of charity stuff and bits as well.
Yeah, I've worked on a lot of charity things. Hoping for Palestine with Bella Freud, AMFA in Brazil I did for 8 years.
It was like there was £2 million you raised at one point.
Even over more than that in Brazil over the years, must have been far more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and at
that must be amazing to be able to put your skill set to that and then really be able to make a difference.
I think that's your payback, isn't it? You got to pay back to society. I've just done something a month and a half ago for Cancer UK. I try and do whatever I can for stuff like that. I think it's really, really, really important. I've always got to give back, especially being a parent as well.
And going back, like when we said, even though you didn't really want to acknowledge it until I've said it to you like 5 times, you held a lot of cards. Yeah, whatever way you look at that, you're very well respected, Fran. You hold a lot of cards.
Yeah, and despised at the same time. Yeah,
but it's part of it, isn't it? If you're going to be they're calling you a powerhouse and a force to be reckoned with.
There definitely is pros and cons with being in my position. People slag you off, talk about you behind your back. You probably only trust very certain amount of people, and along the way, some fall by the wayside.
This was the question I was going to ask you. Did you find that people would obviously try and lick your ass just to come to your parties?
100%, yeah.
And you could probably smell them a mile off.
Yeah, I've got quite a good radar for people like that, and good radar for people that are full of shit. Sometimes I haven't, though.
Do you know what? My auntie does this thing. She's hilarious. She's like, everyone is full of shit. She went, everyone talks that. And I was like, oh, you don't see the world right. She's like, no, I'm telling you, everyone is full of shit. And this year I thought, people tell so many
most people are. And then sometimes you're really pleasantly surprised when somebody isn't like that, you know. But that...
Well, bringing it back to that, when you subconsciously find yourself in the limelight and they start writing press about you, how does that feel?
I think that was very strange for me because, as I said, I was always in the background. I was never one to jump in a picture with people. You'll see pictures of me, but compared to what pictures I could have done with famous people, you know, when you see those people that are fans that jump in every picture,
you can see them.
Yeah, they jump in with every famous person they've ever met. I mean, there could have been, hundreds of thousands of pictures of me, but I was never really that person. I don't like my picture being taken. I don't like being in front of the camera. So I was always behind it. So then when things started being written about me, I found that quite hard because most of it's bullshit. And also I was hacked by the press for 11 years.
What do you mean?
Well, in the hacking scandals. So by the Sun and the Mirror, I was hacked for 11 years.
What, they were tapping into your phone calls?
Yeah.
And you never knew?
Nobody did in those days.
But how were you How did you work out?
Well, because once they start on one person, the lawyers find everyone else, and so they rang me.
So were people accusing you of?
Oh yeah,
leaking stories then.
Yeah.
I told Fran. Yeah.
Yeah. Loads of people were accusing me. My so-called friends were accusing me to my face, And it's just really, really strange that they accused me to my face, and they all sort of went a bit off. And then when it all came out, that was like, oh yeah, we never believed it was you. You know, they were just so two-faced, and they think that I'm stupid enough to believe that.
And want that friendship back.
You know, they're just.
But you quite publicly fed out with someone, didn't you, after 25 years?
Oh yeah,
Kate
I
Moss.
have. Yeah, and that's still ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and was that hard to deal with, that being in the press?
It was hard to deal with. But it's just the way things go.
Because it's one of the things we can't. It's when I started looking down the rabbit hole of your life, everyone was like, you were kind of known to be
like
together,
twins.
all the twins. They were like
exactly.
best mate, soul sister. So
yeah, we were very, very close, and we're not now. And that person's going on their journey, and good luck to them, really. And I'm on mine.
And did you lose a lot of friends between that?
Not really, no. I thought at the beginning, I think people were sort of trying to take sides. I think, but then when they saw the truth, they all sort of realised what really was going on, and the ones that I've lost, I don't really care about.
And so did you find that when the press did start writing about you...
Yeah, I still didn't ever talk to them.
No.
I've got a principle in my office and just in my life, that I never, ever talk to the press. Whenever they've called me about someone dying or someone doing this or someone that, I never, ever comment.
I bet they've tried to offer you a lot of money before as well.
Not necessarily money, but it's just always a no comment policy. And I've always stuck by that. And I just think that's always stood me in good stead.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been my remit. Always no comment. And I mean, I know a lot of things about a lot of people. And I could have probably made millions and millions on the things that I know, but I would never go to the press.
So how did you feel then when you found out you'd been hacked for 11 years? Did it
devastated? Yeah, I was devastated. And I mean, it was just unbelievable. But you get paid off by the press. They have to pay you.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, the lawyers, fight your case.
Oh my God.
So I mean, I was a nucleus. I was right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So obviously everything was coming through my phone.
Yeah, and you would be the first person you think.
But in those times, it was everyone was so paranoid. You just did not know who was telling the truth. I knew I was telling the truth.
But then it almost makes you not even want to have conversations with anyone about anything.
It was a very, very weird time, and I'm so glad those times are over. But I still think it goes on now.
Yeah, it must do.
I really do think so.
So do you think it's hard to find genuine friendships in the
circles
that you mix in?
I think it depends what you want from a friendship, I think. I'm at an age where I know my friends I'm really happy. I've got a great family, great daughter. I'm quite content with my friendship circle. And I think life has a way of taking away and bringing to you who you need at certain times. I really thought certain people would be there when my dad died and would really be there through that journey, and they weren't, and other people were. So you just never know.
I think that's another thing, it never ends up what we think it's
going
to look like.
Futurize. I've got a terrible habit of when I meet a guy, I'm always like, oh, this is the one, I'm going to get married. Oh my God, I'll futurize, we're going to be so in love.
Same star signs.
Yeah. And it never happens. And I've stopped, obviously I've been in therapy for like 8 years since my father died. And literally I just can't futurize anymore because I know it's just a load of old effing shit. So it's the same sort of thing with friendships. You
get attached to the outcome, right? So going back to men,
it's fantasy, isn't it? Yeah. It's girls, it's what they want. It's like, you want that wedding. Although I've never wanted to be married, funny enough. I come from a very stable family, but marriage has never been for me. I've had some really great relationships with some really great guys. I've never wanted to marry them. And I'm in a different sort of chapter of my life now. My daughter's grown up. She's left home. I've moved my mum into a flat. I've sort of reached another milestone and chapter of me deciding not to cook anymore. I live in an amazing Sex in the City apartment in central London. I'm feeling really freed and
almost
excited.
Become a little bit selfish because
the
conversations
100%,
we've had off,
100%.
It seems like you've carried a lot of people for the lot of your life. You've looked after your
parents.
parents.
I'm a giver, definitely a giver and not a taker. And I've given it, and I've been a people pleaser, and I've been there. Sometimes my assistant's like, God, you're like a concierge. Everyone calls you for everything. And I moan about it, but I quite like it.
because it feels our need to like also want and have a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like being a people pleaser at the end of the day. I like to please people and help people out. Sort of part of my job as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not just the parties, your people. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You just touched on it there with the therapy. I mean, I feel I've been in therapy myself for like 4 years. And when I first started, there was like a lot of stigma. So like my family were like, see, I knew there was something wrong with you. It's like, well, actually. But it's not, right? It's for me. And back then, it was a really heavy weighted word. Yeah. And I'm like, I have a therapist. I don't care.
I think everyone should.
100%.
Everyone should have a therapist. I mean, my daughter and I have the same therapist. And we love her. And there's times that maybe I don't see her 2 or 3 months, 6 months. And then I'll go back and just have a total, spout of release. She's amazing, and I've recommended her to other people, and she's really helped me. I think there's nothing better than someone that's neutral to sit and vent and get it all out. And my poor sister has to put up with a lot with me because she's usually the one as well that I just sit and rampage down the phone at, just rant, and I just don't know how she puts up with me, bless her.
But you work alongside each other
yeah,
as well,
we work
you?
alongside each other. We always have.
That's
amazingly.
Mental. No massive fallouts there then?
No, she's a Cancerian. She's really easygoing. Everything goes over her head. Whenever I moan about anything, she's like, oh, what you bothered about? If I fall out with people, it's like, well, that just wasn't meant to be. Yeah. She's just like so pragmatic about life, whereas
Adult.
I'm very immature. My spirit's very young.
You can see that and you can feel it even just thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, but like in a good
I
way.
feel all my relationships are with much younger guys. I don't think I've ever been with anyone older or my own age.
I think it's like a playfulness of life, not so much an
I just think you've got to enjoy life and have fun. And I suppose I picked a really good way of doing that by throwing parties.
Yeah.
And enjoying it.
Well, you don't seem to be showing any signs of slowing down.
No, I mean, I'm going into different genres of work. And I think next year's going to be really exciting. But now, even before Christmas, I don't do like Christmas parties per se. But, there's at least 3 or 4 on the cards before the 15th of December. So there'll be quite a bit, 2 to 3 weeks.
So what would make you sell?
You can't sell. I couldn't sell my business.
So what's next then?
I just think things would organically just happen into something else. I'd never stop working because I couldn't, because it's just not in me, because I've always worked. And I'm single parent, put my daughter through private school.
I've had a lot.
I've done a lot. Very much like yourself, single parent. You know what it's like. Any woman out there that's a single parent knows what that's like. And you continually work to keep the balls in the air. You're juggling constantly. That's all you ever do is juggle. So that's why I'm saying I'm in a different position a bit now because I've done the schooling. She's 22. She's out in Cambodia now. She's done a, university thing. And I just think now maybe something's going to take me somewhere else.
Well,
I'm open.
Yeah, I wanted to know how you ended up with the Glastonbury stuff.
The Glastonbury stuff.
So for people that don't know, explain what it is. Because it's like VIP, unless you're shitting gold bullets, you can't come in. Is that right?
Well, something like that. It's a really amazing area behind the pyramid stage where people can stay. And it is a little bit expensive, so it is certain people that can afford to come in. I don't know, from one day to the next it differs, but I started working on it 20 years ago when there was no sort of area even at Glastonbury VIP like that. And it's really how I would describe it. It's a safe space for VIPs, that there's no photographers, there's no press. You can be who you want in there. And then if you want to go out amongst the masses at night, you can go out incognito. You can go in with a hat on a beard and do what you want. It's just a real safe place. Got a nice bar, you can eat there. And it's, I suppose it's in a nirvana.
So do you own that kind of area?
I don't own any of it. Everything's owned by Glastonbury.
No, but I mean, you get that area every year as yours. How does that work?
I wouldn't say it's mine. I sort of host it for them.
Okay.
As in, I look after all the really nice people in there. And just make sure that nobody gets into trouble. And everyone's happy. Everyone's got what they need, and it's a really fun space.
What what's your CV got to be like to come in there? Like, how many people can you put in there?
It
Or is
will
it
just
who pays, or is it who you are?
It just all depends. It really does all depend on who's playing that year, even. So
Of course, they'll get a priority.
Because they might want to stay there. So this year, Axl Rose stayed because Guns N' Roses were performing, so he stayed in there. And then in the daytime, David would bring the kids in because Elton was playing the next day. They weren't staying in there, but they come and hang out because it's a safe space.
Yeah.
And then I'll be introducing a lot of the kids, like Central C was in there and H. It's just a really nice area where they're not all fans. People in there are very respectful and really nice.
Still sounds really diverse, though.
Yeah, it's really diverse. And Emily Evers, wants it like that. And that's how she wants it. Everyone to feel really welcome, festival vibes, but not to be mithered and harassed. It's not for autograph hunters or selfies. That's not really what it's about.
No, you tell them to sling the hook if they start.
Well, they would just know that that's not the place to do that. That's outside into the main arena. People take selfies. As I said, I'm so anti all that. I just hate it.
Seems like diversity seems to be at the heart of the work that you do as well.
Yeah, I love that. I'm really into that, especially with the LGBTQ community. And I was brought up in Soho. My parents run the Spice of Life. My mum paid for one of our barmen to have a sex change back in the day.
Oh, no way!
Yeah,
Did she?
Yeah, and then she had the first lesbian dart team in Bedfordshire. My mum and dad were very, very pro everything like that.
Everyone should just be who they are.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I can't get with sometimes. I just want everyone to relax and just be who they want to be. You don't really have to have a title. I find that even at work when people say, "Oh, I'm the account manager and the CEO of so-and-so," it doesn't mean jack shit. You know what I mean? You are who you are. You're working there. Get on with it.
Do you think that's why as well you didn't really labelise your brand for so long? Because I'm just Fran and I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that's exactly what I did and why I did it. Because that is what I do.
Yeah, I'm just me.
That is what I do. I'm Fran Cutler. I do parties. I also do a lot of facilitating of maybe putting a famous person with a brand. I worked at LV for 10 years doing the front row in Paris shows for menswear. So I would help do that as well. So it is knowing who's very relevant. But I think having a young team and a young daughter really helped with that as well.
That was my next question. Yeah. Do you have to, because obviously this whole generation that you've been brought up with, there's these new people coming through. So
they call them the nepos, don't they?
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, I think so. It's like if you're a child.
So has your daughter got an eye for it like you then?
Well, she would tell me what music's great and all of that sort of stuff. She's not really that impressed by it all because she's a physicist and she's just got her master's in physics. I mean, she loves coming to parties, but she's not like a model or an influencer. None of that sort of stuff interests her one bit.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh, I'm so relieved.
Could have gone the other way.
I'm absolutely relieved.
Because she mixes in lovely circles, right?
She's got great friends that are models and influencers and she's not looking down on them. It's just not for her. And I'm just grateful that it isn't for her.
And again, we had this conversation off air when you were saying like how intelligent she is. Like I don't want to just bypass that.
I mean, she's so intelligent. I can't.
But you never even had to make her do her homework.
No, she was just so focused, and she's still focused. And her graduation at the Royal Albert Hall was just I just couldn't stop crying the whole way through. Me, my mum, and my sister were just bawling the whole way through. It was just amazing.
Do you think she gets the hard work and dedication from you then?
Yeah, I think being a single mum, just really single-handedly bringing her up and working my arse off. And she's looking at me, seeing how much I have done. Definitely, without a doubt. And I think there's no greater reward in life than hard work. She's proved that with her hard work at being at school and uni.
Yeah.
Paid off for her. It's paid off for me. It pays off for anyone that works hard. It pays off.
So what of your positive traits or your positive legacy do you really want to leave to Mercy?
I think hard work, honesty, and loving people and being open. I mean, I'm not loving to everyone because I can see them coming a lot of the time. But I think honesty is a really important thing because nowadays, honesty is not treated with the respect it really deserves because when you're at school and when you're young, you can remember your parents saying, now tell the truth, be honest. Now you be honest, but you're not allowed to be honest now.
Oh, no, I can't say half the things. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be on air, Fran.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
So if you said to me, oh, can you be honest about what you think about so-and-so? I wouldn't be allowed to. But I am honest about a lot of things, and I get into trouble for that.
Yeah, but I think also that's probably what's kept you the longevity in your career.
I think I'm respected by people for it, but people don't like honesty.
So when you started out in the business as a woman,
yeah,
what would you say to like young women who are like trying to get in this space or need some advice on like how you get from a sandwich shop, right, to throwing the most exclusive parties with Elton
John? I really
John?
think it's who you know, not what you know. I think it's being in the right place at the right time. It really is. And it's sort of like, I suppose, having the confidence, the gift of the gab, the balls.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of balls, right?
You know,
but I don't think my generation even have a lot of balls. Like, or like the generation below me, it's like, oh, well, they said no.
I must have had balls, but I wasn't even a parent then and just went out and got it.
You never really took no?
I don't think I did. I just don't think I even listened. I was just so bullish. I just probably went straight in and didn't listen. Overconfident? Yeah, probably. I mean...
But it's probably got you to where you are, though.
100%. But my mum was very much like that. My mum was very confident. She was the woman in the family. She still is.
She'd tell you could do anything?
Yeah. And I think that is a sort of secret, really. Anyone can do anything if they put their mind to it. But you've got to have the balls and the push and the drive. I don't think a lot of kids today have got the drive. They want it all handed to them on the plate.
Yeah, or
they want it all given.
If I don't do this, I can do that. Or like, I want to earn 10 grand on crypto today with Billy on Instagram, and Billy whose balls haven't dropped, he's sitting in his front room and he's telling you can register with me, you can earn £10,000 on crypto. It's like, dude, like,
it almost seems like an unparalleled universe that these people in that I don't know or don't want to know anything about.
Yeah, it's like my dad was a double glazer and he was like, I would go out for sometimes 21 hours a day. Yeah.
Knock on doors.
Just smash down.
Exactly.
I'd go and go.
My parents were publicans. They worked all hours God send. You don't have a day off in a pub. You're open every single day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people don't know how to graft.
But I think as well, like going back to what you said, it's like a generational thing, right? Because your parents have put that in instinct and drive and resilience in you.
But we're a product of our families
100%.
And our parents. We are a product. Every fuck up, everything that they did reflects on us. That's why a lot of us are in therapy, because we're trying to get over that or get to grips with it. You know, we are what we are at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we can't really change it. You just got to make the best of it. You know, people can mope about who they are all the time. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. This isn't right, that's not right. Just got to get on with it.
So what was life meant to... So you lived above the pub, yeah?
Yeah, always lived in pubs.
So little Fran from the Caledonian Road
then we
lived above the pub.
To the countryside. My mum and dad had a pub there, hated it, moved back. What was my life supposed to be? I haven't got a clue. I worked in fashion, I worked in shops. But always went out, always was going to clubs. So maybe that was... But, I mean, academic... No way, nothing like that was ever gonna.
And it's interesting because Mercy's so academic.
No, it's just like so bloody weird. I think you just, when you're younger, you do just follow what you're doing. You go, but that's why I do believe organically that you get to your.
Well, someone said something to me the other day. It was like, if you do something well enough for long enough, it will stick.
Exactly. Well, I do believe that. You know, and there's sort of different facets to what I do.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm quite good that I can diversify into other things, you know.
Because you're not a set thing. Because I was going to say, you know, if you weren't doing this, what else would you be doing? But there's about 1,000 of different things you would be doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things that I'm, you know, doing now. And obviously, I'm not going to talk about it all now, but there is so many different, you know, exactly. There's all so many different things.
Dropping bombs.
Exactly. There's so many different things you can do. Once you're in a certain space, business space, and you're respected, the world is actually your oyster.
Well, you've got a platform then, haven't you, really?
Exactly.
So you've got
a voice. But what's really sad, though, is some people that have got a platform don't use it to their advantage or use it positively.
But that's also like, I think I can't say you underestimate it, but I think you do a bit. Like, you've probably been doing this for 30, 40 years. Like, that's
25, 30
30
years.
years, yeah. For be doing this, like, no one lasts in this industry that long. No supermodel, like, very, very rarely. So to be there and still be so well respected.
Well,
and have
also,
so
I
many
think as well,
cards.
people can't be ageist either nowadays. You've got to just, because actually being older and doing it is better because you've got so much more experience.
Yeah.
And you know what's what. I can walk in a room and know, right, that shouldn't be there, that should be there. Oh my God, they're saying 50 people are allowed in here, we can get 100. You know, I just know instantly how something's going to work.
And who's full of shit?
I knew, definitely, I knew the really crap staff. You know, it's all those sort of things. I hate working at a venue where they promise you the world, and when you do your event, they're all, oh no, we can't do that. Oh no. You know, I hate that. That's my biggest... Ugh.
So who's been your biggest inspiration on this journey, or like the
God.
people that you mixed with back even then or now? Who's been so vital?
I mean,
in
I
your
think
journey?
all my friends are great inspirations. I've got some great friends, but I think my family. I would say my father, my mum, my sister, and my daughter. She's got through quite a bit. She's been through quite a hard time, and she's got through it and got her masters, you know, in physics. So
It's just mental, that.
yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. But I definitely think it, you know, it's my family. Yeah, I really do. I mean, I've got some great friends, and it's funny, there's a group of us that are all women, and we've all done really, really well, but none of us were from a privileged background.
I think,
And there's probably about 10 of us.
but almost I think when you come from the less privileged background, it makes you want it
Work
more.
harder. You work harder. I mean, obviously, there's many in that circle as well, but there's a lot of my girlfriends, you know, that have done so well from nothing.
Do you think being a woman in business, like even back then, where you were treated differently, like, because obviously there wasn't as much equality as there is now, or not really?
I don't think I saw it really. I don't think I saw that I was being treated any different because I was so mouthy and confident.
Went over your head.
Yeah, it just went over my head. I wouldn't take it. You know, I wouldn't take. Somebody said, "Oh no, you can't." Yes, we can. And I was always very, very opinionated because I thought I knew best. But I did know best because I knew how to throw, you know, and still do know how to throw the best parties.
And do you find it hard to like switch off with it all?
I'm not very good at switching off. I'm a terrible overthinker. I think, like, if I've got an event, say I've got an event tomorrow, I will be going through the entrance, walking down, what it's going to look like, what that, and I'll just mull that over and over. What if the lights go off? What if that happens? Who's coming? What if they don't get, you know, I'll be doing that the whole time. I'm a terrible overthinker. I've sort of got slightly worse, I think. I used to write notes before I went to bed, and I still do that. But when I get into bed, sometimes it just goes round like a carousel.
So what is next then? Are you just gonna keep?
No, I've got quite a few business ideas going ahead. I've got a seltzer that I'm working on that we're getting funding for. There's a new venue in Soho that I'm probably going to be opening.
That sounds really fun.
So there's some really good
things. Life goes full circle,
yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
it?
So
doesn't
there's
it?
some really exciting things happening, but I don't want to jinx anything by saying something definite in case it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, what's really good is that my staying thing and my regular is the events, and I like launching new venues and or new places. And why I like doing that, there's a reason behind that, is because it's brand new. For one, no one's seen it, and secondly, you can do the big launch, and whatever they do after that is nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So if they fuck it all up, it's there's
nothing
no
to
come
you.
back to me. I done a great party, and that's from you to take it now further. So I always find that quite funny.
So what was?
And I've launched everything, like most venues in town.
What piece of advice do you think that you needed to hear when you started out that you never really got off anyone?
Piece of advice.
Or
I don't think I suppose you can do this and you'll get there. I think I must have been so driven, you know, on reflection now, thinking about it, I must have just been so driven because I had to make money and pay the rent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's a good fact because my mum and dad gave me a £5,000 deposit for my first flat in Tufnell Park. and I just got my first mortgage and I lost my job. And so I had to just try and do something. So I started working in a champagne bar, and I'll never forget my first flat in Tufnell Park. And I thought, fuck, I've just got to do anything. And then that's when I just started trying to do anything and everything.
So you're saying like about getting there, like where is there to you?
What is left?
Yeah, where are we trying to get to now?
Don't know. Just, it's not even like peace because I'm really happy. I don't know. Just keep going.
Seems like you've surrendered a lot to a lot of outcomes now. I suppose you've done a lot as well.
Yeah, I've done so much. I just think happiness and, you know, obviously now just keep working and having the night. I mean, I'm very, very grateful. I have a great life. I've just come back from the Maldives. So I've got a new client, the Ritz-Carlton, you know, out there. And
I mean, this young girl from living above a pub.
Exactly. And I do a lot of travelling. And I've got a lot, as I say, a lot of great friends that I help. And I do a lot of charity work, and I love my family. I just want that to continue. And health for everyone.
You sound really fulfilled.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I mean, yeah, overfulfilled. I'm joking. Maybe a man next. I need a boyfriend. Yeah, I don't.
Well, we'll put one out there.
Actually, that's not
you don't
true.
need anything.
I don't need a boyfriend.
What's on the CV for a boyfriend? If I was going to throw one out, what are we looking at?
I've got to be young and hot.
How young?
30 plus.
Okay, 30 between what 30 and 40.
Yeah, 30 and 45.
Are we talking abs or not? So I think fat and funny's better, personally. Because then you know where you are in the food chain as well.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Making me laugh is really important.
Yeah, I just think like life's too short. Like, I mean, there's been some really terrible circumstances that even happened to my mate. Like, and
I can't help. I don't believe in dating apps.
Oh, okay. So you
definitely not. It's got to happen organically, and I've got to meet them.
Okay.
I'd never do a dating app. I've done it, and it's awful. 5 minutes I was on it and I came
What, then you just realised, I've got to go?
It's just not for me. It's like weird.
Yeah, do you know what? I went on Raya last year because everyone's like, oh, it's really cool to go on Raya. And then that makes you want to go on it because no one's on it. And then I got on there and I was like, oh, this is so boring. Everyone's artsy and in...
I went on it for 5 minutes. I came off. It's not for me. My mum is like, her dream is for me to have a boyfriend. I've been talking to the angels and I've been talking to the spirit people and there is a man out there for you, I really know. I was like, Mum, stop speaking to them. For God's sake, I'm
just
all
tell
right.
them to send him.
Yeah.
Maybe Santa bring him.
Yeah, maybe.
What would Mercy be like that? Would she get a little bit jealous?
No,
or anything like that?
She would love me to stop ringing her up every 5 minutes and have a man.
Oh, but you seem like you've got a really nice relationship.
Yeah, we've got a really close, great relationship. She's brilliant. I mean, now she's away, we're still like texting every single day. Oh. I've bought an air tag to put around her neck, so I know exactly.
Has she been wearing it?
Yeah, I know exactly where she is at every given time. Just go on your phone,
But you feel like you've lost your right arm a bit, no?
I do feel a couple of weeks ago I got it really bad, and it's getting better because it's nearly 2 months, a month and a half now. She's not back till Feb. It's the first Christmas away from each other.
Oh no.
So it's a little bit of mosh, but I'll get there.
Bring on the wine. Well, listen, thank you for coming today.
You're welcome. I want to
pick out a few words.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like these really do describe you, right? Just a few things that I wrote down when I was going, I think you are genuinely one of the most authentic, honest, real powerhouse women that I've met.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot that people can take away from this, especially like young girls, because they don't make them like you anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people say
my dad's a bit of that era. Like they don't. I think it's like maybe it's like you're not so.
It's
much
a
from
realness.
the East End.
It's a very much a realness,
and it's that keep on going. And a lot of the women, like we had this conversation off air. I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to place this or do this, but there's a real thing that I'm being guided drawn to at the moment. There's these powerful women that we all get told no. Like, listen, people go to me, oh, you've had this one, that one, this one on the show. Yeah, but don't think I didn't have some no's before that. Don't think you didn't see the breakdowns, my absolute tears on my first one.
But also, look at these great actresses, you know, like Sienna Miller was a great friend of mine. Look how many no's she's had in the beginning. Yeah. Everyone's been turned down. Everybody's had rejection. And if rejection makes you stronger.
And I think we're scared of it. And especially the generation, believe me, it's like, oh, okay, well, they said, no, that's for me. And it's like, and one of the things, and I think you said it as well, but it's like about if you want it and like you feel it and it's going to happen, then it doesn't really matter. Like I asked you like, oh, what about the comments? And they seem to go over your head because you're so tunnel focused.
I mean, they upset you for what? A couple of seconds. And then you think, fuck it, you don't even know me.
I'd be awful. I'd be trolling them back.
But, you know, it's like you don't know me. you've never met me, so how can you write such shit about me?
Yeah,
when
it
you've
says more
never
about
met
you
me?
than me.
Exactly,
1,000,000%.
exactly. I think as well, you're saying that you've got another 2-3 women that you're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. Maybe your way is to go forward with a woman, more of a woman in business type of thing.
Because, and I think everyone thinks I'm going to get people on and they're going to go, oh, and I made 100 million quid. It's like, no, actually, I got told loads of no's.
And it's not always about money either.
No, that's exactly so.
And it's not you asking me questions about how much money I've made, because that is irrelevant.
No, I was so flabbergasted by the longevity in your career in an industry that to me seems very vacant, and for someone to be there long reigning and have that much power after a long time says a lot about you.
And still the only person that does it. I mean, there are pretenders to the throne, obviously, and I speak to them occasionally, the little minions, and I'm always saying, oh, there's plenty of room for us all, and I just think, you just don't know what the fuck you're doing. But anyway, I just smile and walk on.
But that's your wealth of experiences.
Yeah, I mean, they're never going to be me.
But that's what I want everyone to know. No one's ever going to be you. Like,
exactly.
when I was like this, someone was like, oh, you know, this one, that one. Yeah, cool. They're not me though.
Exactly.
So like someone said to me, it was my dad actually. God, he keeps coming up today. You know, you should really go and get some PR training before you do this. Where I was like,
you don't need to.
Why am I paying someone to tell me to not be me?
But PR training is not that. You don't need that because you talk and you're natural enough. PR is when you want someone to go out there to PR you, to sell you to other people. You don't need that.
But this is what I'm saying. We get so caught up that we need all these other things.
He probably thought you meant media training, but you don't need that either.
That's probably what he meant.
You don't need that. You don't need me.
But it's all these things that we think we need to do to have to do this. But it's like, really, like,
just be yourself and authentic, and that'll get you everywhere.
And that seems to have got you everywhere.
Because you know what you have to do? There's only you that can look at yourself in the mirror every day and like yourself.
Exactly.
You got to get on with it.
Well, Fran, I want you back when you tell us what's happening next.
Oh, the new stuff.
All the new stuff.
That was really good.
I'll bring you back when the boyfriend comes on.
Oh my God,
send you a picture.
Thank you.
No, thank you.